Welcome to Voiced. Today's story is about a customer's unreasonable demand for a printed manual and how sticking to your principles can turn their smugness into regret. For context, I just went into my old workplace and remembered this story. 5 years ago, I used to work for a large electronics store in Scandinavia. We sold everything from TVs to dishwashers. Being a physical store, we had a lot of display items and often sold them at a lower price when the product was discontinued. Please note that we rarely had the original packaging or manuals lying around. This will be important. This story takes place a late afternoon, about 30 minutes before closing. I worked this shift in the computer department and was asked to help at the camera section of the store, as I was the go-to person for cameras. I was greeted by a couple who I would guess were in their late 50s, and they were looking at one of the display models. I walked them through the camera's specs, let them test it out, and explained that while we had all the necessary accessories, the original manual and packaging were thrown away. They seemed perfectly fine with this, especially after I offered them a fantastic deal on the camera. We headed to the checkout, where they paid, and everything seemed to be going smoothly. That is until the husband turned to me and asked, "Where's the manual?" I was thinking, oh shoot, maybe I didn't explain it well enough. I started to explain again, reiterating that we didn't have the original manual, but that it was easily accessible online. I had even included a link to the manual on their receipt. This was not taken well by the husband, who started raising his voice at me and said, "Online? I brought this product and I want the manual physically so I can read through it at home." Which I do understand, and tried explaining that I normally would print the manual. However, the manual for this particular camera was about 650 pages. Please note that they both are more than capable of looking up the manual, as I saw them browsing the web looking at reviews for the camera. The husband angrily started to berate me for about 5 minutes about how this wasn't a way to run a business and how he wouldn't leave without it. I tried explaining that the manual was 650 pages, how long that would take to print, and we were closing in around 10 minutes. But he was having none of it, and he wouldn't leave without it. Now, I am normally a kind and respectful person and would do everything to fix a problem, but he was being disrespectful, and I was paid by the hour anyway. So with my best customer service voice, I told him, "Sorry, sir, of course the customer is always right," and started printing the 650 pages while the husband looked smugged at me, probably feeling like he had won over the big man. But the thing was, the printers we had at the sales desk were only meant for printing receipts, so they couldn't print double-sided, and though they were relatively fast, they were not 650 pages fast and only held around 300 sheets of paper at a time. As the minutes ticked by, with each sheet of paper that emerged from the printer, the man's smug expression disappeared. His wife, who had initially seemed passive, began to look annoyed and a bit embarrassed. Then the printer ran out of paper, and you could see the relief in their eyes as they thought the printer was finally done. But that was quickly gone when they saw me coming with a huge stack of paper to fill it up. 20 minutes and 400 pages, and the wife started to look even more desperate, realizing that they were the only customers in a store that closed 10 minutes ago. The husband was beginning to realize his mistake and nervously began to ask when it was done printing. I just smiled with my best customer service smile. We were about 2/3 of the way. He sighed and just continued to look at the mountain of paper that slowly got bigger and bigger. Another refill, and 200 pages later, the husband's defeat was evident. He finally asked if he could just take what had already been printed and leave. But by then, only like 50 pages remained, so I told him that we were almost done, and I would hate if he left without the last pages, in case he would miss something important. When the printer finally stopped, I handed him the entire 650-page manual, still smiling, and said, "Here you go. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the camera." They quickly left the store silent and defeated, and I never saw them again. Quick edit to clarify some things. I got paid 1.5 my wage plus afternoon add-on, so staying 30 minutes longer was actually a plus for me. I would have loved to say that the manual was in 6 different languages, but it wasn't. But the manual have so much info that is only relevant if you are a professional photographer, which they were not. Oh, and did I mention that I didn't put any staples or holes in the paper? Good luck keeping it together. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.